Hello, you fellow musicians and gamers out there. This is Clarinetgamer here, and I am back yet again with Resident Evil 7. But this time it's not the Let's Play; it's a review. Now, it's been a while since I've done one of these for a certain game. I can't remember the last time I actually did do a review, but I'm going to do the best I can with this. So during this review, I'm going to have gameplay footage in the background of the game that I'm going to be playing, obviously. So you'll see what the game looks like while I'm talking about it. So anyway. Before I actually get started with the review, guys, one thing I want to say, I apologise for the end credits sort of being silent because I got a copyright claim by a certain company for, I think it was like a dubstep company for the ending song, so I had to take that down because I couldn't put the video publicly for some reason. It wouldn't allow me to put the video publicly, so I had to remove the song in order for the video to be public, so I do apologise for that, guys. Just a little bit of a side note before I start, so without further ado, let's get into this. So, Resident Evil 7, it's the current installment in the Resident Evil series, and it goes back to its roots. So, like the original Resident Evil and the Resident Evil 2 games were horror-based games, like they were survival horror-based games, whereas the later games, such as Resident Evil 6, were more action-based. So Capcom decided to go back to its horror roots with Resident Evil 7, and I've got to say, I am glad they went back to the horror roots again. Now, as far as it goes for the original Resident Evil, I did play that a bit on the PS4, like the remastered version of it, and it's really good. But I digress. I'm talking about Resident Evil 7 here, but I'm glad they went back to that based on the original Resident Evil I've played. So anyway, the premise of the game, you play as the protagonist, Ethan Winters, and he has a message or an email from his wife, Mia, and she needs to be found at a house in Dulvey, Louisiana, and you meet the crazed Baker family. And I'm not going to go into the plot too much without spoiling it. In case if any of you guys are interested in the game, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but if you've played the demo, then you know that, like, the main guy, like Jack Baker, is saying, "Welcome to the family, son." Like, when he says that, that's when you know that that game is going to be good. But if any of you have played this game before, you'll know what the story's about. But if any of you haven't played this game before and you're watching this and you're interested in playing Resident Evil 7 after watching this, I'm not going to spoil it too much. So I'm just going to leave it at that. That's basically the premise. Ethan Winters trying to find his wife within a spooky house with a crazed family. That's basically what the game's about, but I'm not going to spoil it too much, as I said. So anyway, I have got a lot to talk about when it comes to the gameplay. Now, the gameplay is fantastic overall, but I want to go into really good details about this. First of all, what I want to talk about is the sound design. It's perfect for this game because random noises happen at any point in the game which make you nervous or very scared. Well, it certainly made me nervous and very scared in a way, maybe because I'm easily scared, but I digress. But anyway, this is what the developers were hoping to accomplish, and in my opinion, they certainly did that. So, the sound design in this game is just amazing because it matches all the atmosphere needed for their horror game like this. The gameplay features are as follows. Now, the original Resident Evil games had weapons that you needed to find around the location you were in, and you also needed to conserve ammo as well. And it's the same thing in this game, like throughout the house that you're in, you can find certain amounts of ammo or weapons you can use, such as like different guns or knives or anything like that. And you need to conserve your ammo as well because you can easily run out depending on what difficulty you play on. So say for instance if you played on easy mode, you might get quite a lot of ammo throughout the game, whereas on the other difficulties, like the other difficulties in this game are normal difficulty and Madhouse difficulty. Madhouse is unlocked after you've completed the game, as you've probably seen in the last part, or you may not have seen actually, you probably wouldn't have seen that, but Madhouse difficulty is the hardest difficulty in that game, and that's only unlocked if you complete the game on either easy or normal mode. And in that difficulty, you get a limited amount of ammo, so you need to conserve it as best as you possibly can. Even on easy mode, it's strongly encouraged, even though it may not be absolutely necessary. But it's good practice. Like say for instance, if you wanted to, if you're a trophy hunter, and you wanted to do Madhouse difficulty, it's very good practice for you to try and put that technique into mind in saving your ammo. And also, sometimes running is the only option you may have when fighting against certain enemies. And also, as well as the scary stuff, puzzles are also in this game. There's a puzzle element in this game, like the original Resident Evil game as well, to ease the tension. And also, the puzzles mainly consist of shadow puzzles where you take a certain object and there's like a projector, and you've got to take a certain object, such as like a stone, statuette or sort of stone statue, and you use it on a picture to match the shape. Now, it's a pretty simplistic puzzle. These puzzles for the game are pretty simplistic. However, in my opinion, they could have been more challenging, or they could have maybe added more puzzles instead of shadow puzzles, from my point of view. And also other gameplay features as well. And there's also save rooms you can go into as well. The save points consist of tape cassettes or tape recorders, which you can find in save rooms with along with green boxes. But save points are mainly found in these rooms, and you can save your game, and quite frequently actually on easy mode, as you could probably tell from my let's play, you could save quite frequently on easy mode. And also in Madhouse difficulty, going back to the Madhouse difficulty, just like the original Resident Evil, you need like certain amounts of paper or ink in the original Resident Evil, whereas in Resident Evil 7 you need to have tape cassettes that you need to pick up in order to save, because if you don't have any tape cassettes in Madhouse difficulty, you will not be able to save your game at all. So you'll need to conserve them as well on the hardest difficulty in the game. But since I played easy mode, that was not much of a difficulty for me. So anyway, speaking of the save rooms, just talking about the green box that I mentioned earlier. Now this is used to store items for later use if you run out of room in your inventory. And this is also very useful, as if you want to use a favourite weapon or item later, you can keep it safe and make sure you don't lose it. Now speaking of the inventory, this is also really good as well, because throughout the game you start off quite simple with your inventory, but you can collect more bags along the way to get more items into your inventory. And any items you can collect, like say for instance if you collect like a herb and a chem fluid in the game, you can combine the two of them to make a first aid bottle, which is like your health. And you can also use gunpowder and chem fluid to make more ammo for your guns. So that's what I quite like about the inventory. You can combine certain items to create a much more powerful item or powerful weapon. So I like that about the inventory. Another thing I want to talk about as well was the videotapes. Now these are very useful for finding out more information when it comes to plots, conveniences or plot devices, and for solving puzzles as well. Just a little bit of foreshadowing in these videotapes. However, one thing, if I'm going to be a little bit nitpicky about something, when it comes to the videotapes, depending on which character you're playing as, so say for instance in the first ever videotape when you're with that Surrogators crew, when you're playing as Clancy Javis, when he goes down the ladder to find Andre, now you've probably known this already, if you played the demo then you'll know what happens, but when he climbs down the ladder it seems like he's still holding the camera, which does not make any sense whatsoever, unless if he's taped the camera to his head, which could very well be possible, but I don't think that would be possible either. I mean, like, I guess it would make sense, but if you're holding the camera with your hand while climbing down the ladder, that is not physically possible. That's just a little nitpick I just had to throw out there. But the videotapes are very good, like the VHS tapes. It reminds me of so many good memories about them. But I digress. But they're very good at finding out more plot information and puzzle information as well. Now, when it comes to the music, there's not that much of it. However, there were some aspects of music, like say for instance in the ship that you were in when you played as Mia, and you were getting close to Ethan. That was when the music started to get very tense. Like, I remember getting really scared because the music was getting higher and higher in terms of the note values. They were getting very high, and it made me really paranoid. I was like, oh no, what the hell is going on, and everything like that. However, even though there's not that much music in this game as far as I heard, the sound design definitely makes up for it with the silence, because this is a horror game after all, and the random sounds that happen, especially with the jump scares that happen as well, really make this a very worthy horror game because of that. And now, a couple of the things to say before I close off the review, before giving my overall score. My main criticisms of this game overall, if I can speak properly, are the loading times. Now, for some reason, when I played this on the PlayStation 4, after I played certain videotapes, the loading times took a long time. For instance, like, I think they took up to maybe a minute on some occasions for the game to load back up again, and I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it might be better on certain platforms like Xbox One or PC. Maybe the loading times might be better, I'm not entirely sure. And another main criticism I had of the game as well is that there were certain glitches, and this is again another nitpick on my part. there were certain glitches that ruined the scares sometimes. So like say for instance if you wanted to go through a door in the house and there was a random enemy in there that you weren't expecting. Sometimes when in my Let's Play, when I tried to go through a certain door, there was an enemy that tried to glitch through the door, and then I said in the commentary to myself, wait a minute, why is that enemy glitching through the door? And I was thinking in my head, oh no, there goes the jump scare surprise. So they could have perhaps maybe fixed the glitches in there, because I know in like PS4 games they release like patches, like updates to the game. I'm thinking Capcom should have done that, or either that, maybe they could have delayed the game maybe a little bit, like about 2 or 3 weeks, to fix up the glitches in the game, or maybe just in those little firmware updates. They could have fixed those, but that's just a nitpick on my part. And my overall thoughts on the game are as follows. So, it's a fantastic horror game with a fantastic story, and it might be better on other platforms in terms of the criticisms that I've mentioned. Maybe the glitches might not be as bad on the Xbox One and PC versions, and the same with loading times as well. Now, I played this obviously on the PlayStation 4, as you could tell from the share play function that I used. Well, not share play, but the share recording function that I used on PlayStation 4. And if just to talk a little bit about the graphics, I don't really talk about graphics that much because they're not really that important to me. Like, what's important to me when it comes to video games is the story and the gameplay. Those are the two main aspects from my point of view of what make a game really great. But if I were to make a comment about the graphics, they were really great, especially when it comes to the actual in-game cutscenes. They were fantastic. And if you're a horror fan and you're watching this review, I do thoroughly recommend this. And the game is available on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, or PC on Steam. So if you have a PC, you can go on Steam to buy it, and the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. And my overall rating for this game, I would give this a 9 out of 10 because of the, because I had a lot of positive things to say rather than negative. And it was one of my most hyped up games for this year as well, and I'm glad I played this, so I would definitely give this a 9 out of 10 from my point of view. So, overall guys, I hope you really enjoyed this review. So, this is the first review I've ever done in a while, so if any of you guys have any suggestions or any tips in the comments for how to improve the reviews in the future videos, please let me know, and I'll try my best to implement them into future reviews. So until then everybody, this is Clarinetgamer here signing off. I hope you all have a great day wherever you are. Please feel free to like the video if you enjoyed. Comment down below for your thoughts on the review, and if you have any thoughts about the game as well you'd like to share in the comments, please feel free to state them down below. And please feel free to hit that subscribe button as well for more upcoming content on my channel as well. So until then everybody, this is Clarinetgamer here signing off. Hope you all have a great day wherever you are, and I shall speak to you later. Till then, goodbye.